Hello and welcome to another edition of the Totally Tranmere podcast. I'm Matthew Jones from www.total-tranmere.co.uk. Once again, I have with me Paul Harper from paulharper.webs.com. Hello, Paul.
Hi Matthew, how are you?
I'm good, thanks. And yourself?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you.
Good to hear. Good to hear. We've been away for a couple of weeks due to busyness and illness again, but we're once again back, and hopefully we can bring you another enjoyable podcast for you to listen to. We will say now that we're once again having a few technical issues, which we're looking to iron out, but hopefully this will be an audible podcast and you will be able to understand what we're saying. Now, first things first, we're going to look at last time's email topic, and that was winter break. Paul, your thoughts on that?
Yeah, we had a great response from everyone. So thank you for all your emails, all your tweets, and on Facebook as well. We had a mixed response for the winter break and some against. So it was an interesting topic to discuss. First tweet I've got here comes from Callum Martin. He says, I think it would be an awful idea to install a winter break. He says the owners of clubs should fork for undersoil heating to avoid calling games off for frozen pitches.
Well, of course, undersoil heating a great idea in theory, especially for Premier League clubs these days, but it does cost £500,000 to install, and that's, to Tranmere, that's a lot of money. I mean, for a club that's only just breaking even this year, to spend £500,000 on a winter break is well, it'd be outrageous to say the least, especially when many of the fans would prefer that money to be spent on the pitch or on wages, you'd say. But to further that, I'd say, for undersoil heating, is it becoming redundant these days? Because with so many games are getting called off at the moment, not because of a frozen pitch, but because it's unsafe at the ground to travel to the ground.
Yeah, exactly. The grounds down the country are doing a great job to get the pitches in good nick. I think if you saw any of the Premiership football over the last sort of few days, technology of the pitches and the pitches look in immaculate condition, whereas 20 years ago they were just at this time of the season. So I think the pitches are pretty good. I mean, the Fenton Park pitch has held up pretty well this season. So undersoil heating's a possibility, but like you say, it's so expensive to install. You can never guarantee when it's going to be needed. So smaller clubs are going to be less likely to want to install undersoil heating for sure.
Definitely. I had a few emails on the topic. Firstly, we had from Liam McMullen. He says that he thinks the advantages of a winter break are great and that he's a huge fan of the idea. He thinks it would be great for footballers to spend more time with their families at Christmas, as it's a special time of year and only happens once a year. And he also adds that after Germany's impressive World Cup in South Africa this year, their manager Joachim Low told the press that the break over winter had provided the players with extra energy levels and fitness. So they definitely benefited from it, and it was one of the reasons why they went so far in the tournament. We also had an email from Chris Cooper. He says that he doesn't believe there is a need for a winter break in football because the most exciting time of the year is at Christmas, when you've got a load of games at once, especially around Boxing Day and New Year, of course. And he says some of his favourite memories are New Year's Day and Boxing Day trips to places like Huddersfield and Crewe. And he says it, but you can see from the attendances at these games, where they're always inflated compared to other matches, that the fans want the games, so they're a big money draw for the club. And a final email we had was from Nicholas Sloker in Sydney, which is a lovely place to be at the moment after England's brilliant Ashes victory, of course. He says that a winter break in theory is an awesome idea, but it's impossible to judge exactly when the cold snap will engulf the UK, and therefore it makes the winter break a redundant idea.
I had a few more tweets as well, Matt.
Yeah.
Issue with the winter break is about when. This is from James Gordon. Sorry. The issue with the winter break is when it comes into place. If the weather's fine during the break, then no games would have got called off anyway. So there's no way of predicting the weather, which is of course a valid point. You could get you could have a winter break in January and get bad weather in February. It's also unpredictable.
Well, the thing is, the managers often complain about a pile-up of fixtures as well. So if you give them the players 3 weeks off, and then they miss another 2 weeks because of the poor weather later or earlier compared to the winter break, then what do? Do you extend the season going in towards the World Cup and the European Championships, or do you just fit in a load of Tuesday night games?
Well, that's it. I mean, you're either going to congest the season elsewhere, or you extend the season into sort of June and shorten the summers, really. That would be the only way I could really see. I mean, so many midweek fixtures as it is with Champions League, Europa League. You've got all the league fixtures as well that we play. Obviously, in League One, there's Johnstone's Paints Trophy, there's League Cup, FA Cup, there's replays. It's difficult to see when, if you take 3 weeks of fixtures out of the calendar, when they're actually going to be played.
I suppose the next step is for managers to ask for the league to be shrunk down slightly then.
Yeah, or even regionalise the leagues, which was one idea that I got a tweet from somebody, find out, Stuart Bailey, possibly regionalise the leagues. What do you think to that, Matt?
I would be totally against it, if I'm honest. I think, there would be benefits for the club, as you'd have higher crowds financially. That's a plus, and you'd have shorter journeys. But, sometimes you just can't beat a good long away trip, especially if you manage to pick up a win. And it's the variation in ground in going to places like London as well. That'd be something that, as a Tranmere fan, I wouldn't want to have to miss out on. You've got some great grounds down there, some great trips to places like Charlton and Leyton Orient and Brentford. Maybe not the best grounds in the world, but they're traditional League One grounds at the moment, and it's a place that you want to go.
Yeah, definitely. I totally agree with you, to be honest. Regionalisation has its advantages, but I think the league as it stands is we've got a great product, and it'd be a shame to sort of destroy that. But in winter times, probably best idea not to schedule, say, Hartlepool against Yeovil or something like that. Long journey, long hard run, a bit of a tough ask for supporters.
Definitely. Have you got any further tweets to bring us, Paul?
Yeah, I had a few tweets from some players actually, and unsurprisingly, they were all for the winter break during the long hard season. I had tweets from Ricky Penn, Darren Huckabee, Ian Ashby of Hull, and Swansea City's Ashley Williams, who were all for the break. Darren Huckabee said he would play Boxing Day fixtures and then have a 2-week break in the season. So, that would allow clubs to get their traditional Boxing Day bumper crowd, and obviously miss out on New Year fixtures, really.
Yeah, the New Year's fixture I think is an important one. It's often around that time that you've got the first weekend in the FA Cup for the Premier League and Championship teams. So is that something that you'd want to miss out on?
Yeah, I mean it's tradition really in this country. Like it or not, it's been tradition for over 100 years. They've been playing football. They used to play Christmas Day, so we've reduced that now to just Boxing Day and then the weekends in between. I think a lot of supporters enjoy going to watch a match Boxing Day, New Year's Day, etc. And obviously, first round of the Cup, third round of the FA Cup, sorry, the massive occasion. It'd be a shame. I remember when they moved it into the third round into December, it just wasn't quite the same. Although we did get a win over West Ham that season, but it just wasn't quite the same.
I find it to be a very exciting time in the football calendar with so many games. The league can change just like that, and if you find yourself on a run of form, then you can move right up the league and get a good few wins together in a very short space of time.
Yeah,
and something like that can definitely reflect well on your signings in the January transfer window as well, if you're going to make any.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And obviously, the opposite effect. If you're on a bad run, you really don't want to be playing too many games all at once. So if you've got injuries, etc., you really want to be giving a week in between games to recuperate and try and get some players back. See, today Steve Bruce has been moaning about the amount of fixtures. Unsurprisingly, that comes after a 2-0 home defeat. So, I mean, if you're winning, it's great. If you're losing, it's something you want to break out, and you want to have a break in the season.
Yeah, well, everyone's got different opinions on it, and I think it's been very difficult as well for the players at the moment to build yourself up to a game and then to not have it. It's five postponements for Tranmere now, or 4 if you only count the Huddersfield game once. It must be difficult to build yourself up to a match and then not have it, and then to keep doing that throughout the season as well. And now we're gonna have a bit of a fixture pile up. But imagine if we then had a winter break in January, and we'd have an even bigger one. And that's the problem. It's where do you put it?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you could have 6, 7, 8 weeks without a game. So I mean, that would be tough on us for sure.
Well, we've got Joss Labadie, of course. He had a 3-match ban picked up for his sending off against Notts County on the 20th of November, and because of postponements, he's still not back from that 3-match ban, and his first game back, the next game that Tranmere play, which will hopefully be Rochdale on Saturday, will be his first game back from that. But a 3-game ban to last nearly 6 weeks is very odd, I would say.
Yeah, it must be frustrating for Joss as well. Obviously, it was a silly sending off in the first place, but he wants to be back in, and the postponements have just put that back 3-4 weeks. So hopefully he's ready to go when we actually do get a game.
Well, yeah, looking forward to Rochdale, of course, on Saturday. Team news so far, it looks like Joss could come back into the team, but injury-wise, Dale Jennings was supposed to miss the Swindon game. He should be fit, and I expect that Marlon Brooms and Enoch Schwumley will be back as well. Final injury problem that Tranmere had was Luca Akins. He missed the trip down to Swindon, but obviously in the end it didn't matter. He should be fit for the game as well. So Tranmere should have a full squad to pick from, Paul.
Yeah, definitely. It's a great position to be. Obviously, all these postponements. Last game was the 14th. So I think pretty much all the injury worries from then have cleared up. Even Alan Martin's been playing a reserve game, so it's great to see him back as well. Full squad to choose from. Les Parry will have selection problems in the right variety, really, rather than the worrying ones.
Yeah, and hopefully, with so many fit players, we can go in and take the game to Rochdale and win it. But the problem, of course, is the lack of match fitness and training. So hope that Rochdale are in the same situation, and hopefully that won't affect us too badly.
Yeah, I mean, like you say, Rochdale are in the same boat. I'm not sure when their last game was, probably before Tranmere's last game, really. They've had a lot of points as well. Same for both teams. And if we take the game to them, there's no reason why we can't get all the 3 points.
Yes, of course, that game is followed straight up by a home game against Carlisle on Monday. If you're a season ticket holder, you can bring a friend or relative to that game for half price, which is excellent value and will hopefully boost the attendance at Prenton Park. Can we win both games, Paul?
Obviously, it's going to be a tough ask. 2 massive games, really. Obviously, watch just above us on goal difference in the league table, so if we could beat them, obviously we leapfrog them in the table. Carlisle will be a good game. Obviously, Craig Curran turn into Prenton Park this time, but there's no reason why we can't beat those 2 teams for sure.
Yeah, it'll be an interesting couple of weeks, definitely as well, with the game against Walsall on the 8th, which is another big game, another side who are struggling. So if we could pick up 9 points from our next